Let me tell you why I support Iran and despise Israel. I'm sitting here having coffee and reading the news. It's the way I like to start my morning. And here's an article in Reuters. Israeli tank fire kills 51 people in Gaza crowd trying to get food. So there you go. Now, Israel has murdered too many innocent people for them to get away with the excuse of defending themselves. Israel is not defending itself. Israel hasn't been defending itself for quite some time now. Israel is a terrorist organization. Israel is a genocidal organization that needs to be stopped. And too many people are afraid to say that because they're afraid of being accused of being anti-Semitic. It's got nothing to do with being anti-Semitic. We're talking about the military leaders, the political leaders. We're talking about killing innocent people. And Israel's genocide, Israel's murder of innocents can no longer go unpunished. And I hope other Arab nations in that region decide to join with Iran and put an end to Israel. That's the only way there's going to be peace in that region. So long as Israel is calling the shots, there'll never be a Palestinian state. And what are those Arab nations waiting for? Are they waiting for the United States to give them a Palestinian state? Are they waiting for Netanyahu to say it's okay for the Arabs to have a Palestinian state? That's never going to happen. It's about time countries, these leaders in the Middle East, stop bowing before Israel, stop bowing before the United States, stop bowing before Europe, and stand up and take control and ownership of their own region. That's the only way you're going to have peace in that region. And if you're waiting for the United States and Israel and Europe to give it to you, it's never going to happen. I, for one, am counting on Iran to put an end to Israel by any means necessary.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, Africans. I hope you're faring well where you are. So there's this Akan proverb. Akan is a tribe in Ghana, and they have a very, very popular proverb. It goes that until the lions learns how to write, the story will always glorify the lion, or rather the hunter who knows how to write, right? So the global narrative surrounding conflicts between powerful states is often written by those who possess the greatest political and media influence. In the case of tensions between the US and Iran, the dominant story frequently portrays the conflict as a simple struggle between democracy and authoritarianism, between the West and an antagonistic Middle Eastern state. Yet, when examining how Black Americans appear sympathetic towards Iran in certain political discussions, the issue becomes less about allegiance to Iran itself and more about historical layers of mistrust, memory, and a narrative construction that shapes political perception. A deconstructive reading that you see, we are going to have a deconstructive reading that reveals that the apparent support of Black Americans or of Iran is not necessarily a literal alignment with Iranian state, but rather a critique of the framework through which global power is interpreted. In layman's language, Black people are in solidarity with Iran. When I say Black people, I mean Black people in America, Black people in the Caribbean, Blacks in Africa, the motherland, and Blacks around the world. Most of them are in solidarity with Iran. And why am I saying this? Iran has stood even with South Africa during the times of apartheid. We can see that the Ayatollah Khamenei Ali had some powerful secret meeting with Thomas Sankara, the late. He had some meeting with Patrice Lumumba. You know, this is a man who valued and appreciated blackness. You see, Ayatollah Khamenei was a man who also you see, supported Black Lives Matter movement. You see, he recognized the oppression of black people. And now, black people are not just standing towards morality to stop the war, but black people are remembering the far they've come with Iran. Yes. I want us to dive into this video, listen to the black people sharing their support and their love towards Iran. I shall be back with a deeper, critical analysis.
Quick video about the United States versus Iran. When I say we're going quick, so you got to listen closely. First things first, the United States would never, ever, ever defeat Iran in a war. Why, you ask? Great question. You see, the United States has the greatest military this world has ever seen, but if you fight an opponent that doesn't give up, then how can you win? Just take what happened in the Vietnam War, for example. The United States threw everything they had at Vietnam. The United States said, whoa, now that's America. North Vietnam, y'all give up? They said, nah, we just gonna chill in the forest. The United States said, what? Y'all saw like the helicopters and all that? They said, yeah, but we just gonna chill out here in the forest. Basically, the same thing would happen with Iran and its vast mountain region. The four-star generals have come out and said the same thing, historians, blah, blah. So what is Donald Trump doing in Iran? He surely knows this. Well, Donald Trump is making a gamble, a terrifying gamble, and the world has a problem because of it. You see, the United States economy runs on oil. It could literally collapse tomorrow, rise tomorrow, all dependent on oil. Iran controls a place called the Strait of Hormuz. A big amount of the world's oil flows through here, meaning Iran has a lot of power over the world's oil. I think like 80% of Japan's oil flows through the Strait of Hormuz. That's why, side note, people say that World War III would start if this conflict gets a little too messy, because the world is so interwoven together nowadays that if Iran were to close this little strait right here, because it's getting messed with from the United States, Japan would literally run out of oil in 8 months. The entire Middle East run out of food, water, because all their food and water comes through this little strait. So many countries might be forced to take action to protect their livelihoods, even though they don't want to. So the entire world is looking at the United States like, what are you doing? Iran is saying the same thing. They don't want to go to war. Their food and water comes through here. Their economy runs through here too. They're looking at the United States with the rest of the world like, what are you doing? The United States said, well, we don't know. We have no idea. It's him. You see, Donald Trump has a different plan in mind. Now, the simple version is Donald Trump would love regime change, right? Because Iran, again, has lots of power over the world's global economy, over the United States economy, very friendly with China, Russia, United States, Israel, Saudi Arabia would like a new leader that is more friendly towards them. And here's where things start to get wicked. Donald Trump's plan is basically, all right, let's just show the United States military might. Boom, 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 strike, strike, strike. That's why he took out Iran's leader so quickly. Basically, so we can come at you anytime, any place. You better just listen to what we say. But that didn't work. That just pissed off the Iranian people. Iran struck back at U.S. bases in the area. So this is why this is such a gamble. Donald Trump is trying to hit Iran fast, hard. Israel out there hitting schools saying, oops, it was an accident. But they said, oops, it was an accident as they strike hospitals and innocent people many times. So it's not really looking like an accident anymore. The United States will come at your water supply. It'll come at your infrastructure. Their hope is Iran is going to say, oh man, we give up. You guys are too strong, too powerful. But again, what happens? Here's the gamble. If Iran says we don't give up, you're pissing us off, actually. Well, that means for however many weeks or years, the United States, meaning you, if you're an American citizen, will spend billions on missiles. People will starve because water supplies and food will be struck. Countries will take a massive hit to their economy because of this Strait of Hormuz we talked about earlier, where all the oil flows through. And if this war gets bad enough, China and Russia will be forced to take action because they rely on Iran for oil. So just to reiterate, Donald Trump's plan is, his hope is basically strike Iran hard, strike Iran fast, strike at infrastructure, and hope that they just give up. But historians, Donald Trump's four-star generals, history has told us Iran's not going to give up. People aren't as weak as Donald Trump seems to be thinking they are mentally. And side note, for the people that may have been worried that Iran is going to strike the United States directly, Iran would never do that. For one, they understand that they're at war with Donald Trump's regime, not the American people. For two, they need the American people on their side so the American people can change the Trump regime for somebody that actually understands what's going on in the world. And for three, the United States is just too far. So at the end of the day, again, Donald Trump's gamble won't work, but a lot of people are going to get hurt in the process.
Why don't he do something about the South Sudanese who are being genocided right now? Why don't Donald Trump do something about the Sudanese who are being genocided right now. Why is he ignoring the Sudanese genocide, Art? Why is he ignoring the child slaves in the Congo, Art? Since he cares so much about black people, let me tell you why. Donald Trump is ignoring the genocide in Sudan because it's being carried out by Arabs from the United Arab Emirates. The Arabs from the UAE are in the Sudan killing and genociding our black Sudanese brothers and sisters to control the oil and the other natural resources. And here's the kicker, Art. Where does the United Arab Emirates get most of their weapons from? Who is the number one military supplier of weapons to the Arabs of the UAE? Donald Trump's government.
Wow.
Listen to this, Art. Ain't that crazy? You're talking about you're going to invade Nigeria to protect my Christian brothers and sisters in the north, but you giving weapons to Dubai. You're giving weapons to the Arabs and UAE so they can come into Sudan and genocide black people in the name of natural resources, but you care about the blacks in Nigeria. Give me a break. And what about in the Congo, Art? You got children dying, mass murder, humanitarian crisis, hunger in the Congo, been going on for years. Donald Trump won't do anything about it. You know why? Because they're mining coltan and cobalt for who? Apple computers, and for Elon Musk Tesla cars, and for American military systems. So Donald Trump isn't going to say one word about the Congo because it benefits white capitalism. He's not going to say one word about Sudan because it benefits white capitalism. And don't get me started on Haiti and what America is doing in Haiti. Since you love black Christians so much, what about the black Christians in Haiti? What about all the Haitians whose asylum in America you just canceled out, and you're now hunting them down like animals all across America and sending them back to Haiti? What about them? What about the airstrikes, Art, that America has carried out in Somalia, killing innocent men, women, and children? Many of them are Christian as well, although it's an Islamic country. What about them? So you got all of these genocides of black people going on around the world. Christians, as they want to say, being murdered, but Donald Trump don't see them. He only sees the one in Nigeria. And let me tell you why, Art. I know you're familiar with Ibrahim Traoré and the Sahel Alliance. Ibrahim Traoré is the president of Burkina Faso. You also have the president of Niger, Chiani, and you have General Goita of Mali, right?
Right.
The real reason, Art, and I need you to get this, the real reason Donald Trump wants to invade northern Nigeria, Art, has nothing to do with black Christians. Nothing to do with my Christian brothers and sisters in the north. Northern Nigeria sits under what country, Art? Northern Nigeria sits right under Niger, one of the 3 countries in the Sahel Alliance. Nigeria borders Niger. And why is Niger so important, Art? Who is the number 1 supplier of uranium in the world? Niger. Do you know what you need uranium for, Art? Nuclear missiles, nuclear bombs, nuclear technology, nuclear warheads. Niger is the number 1 supplier of uranium. And in the nuclear age, Art, uranium is the vibranium of Black Panther. In the nuclear age, uranium is the vibranium that they talked about in the Black Panther movie. So the reason Donald Trump needs to get into northern Nigeria, Art, so they can invade and try to overthrow President Chiani in Niger so they can get control of the uranium. Are you with me so far?
I follow you.
Not only does Niger have uranium, they have gold and other resources. And then next to Niger, you have who? Mali. Mali has gold, Mali has copper, Mali has zinc, and unlimited natural resources. And then Burkina Faso is only a hop, skip, and a jump from northern Nigeria. And you know they want to get rid of Ibrahim Traoré, and we pray to God and the ancestors that never happens. but they want to get rid of Ibrahim Traore because he's the leader. And what does Burkina Faso have a whole lot of? Gold art.
Did you know that during the 1979 Iran hostage crisis, they released 13 Black American and female hostages about 2 weeks after the U.S. embassy was seized? They basically released them because they realized and recognized that Black Americans and women in general were also victims of American imperialism. And so they released them because they were like, hey, they're less likely to be spies, so we'll let them go. They held onto the remaining 52 hostages until about January of 1981. And then those same 13 Black American and women hostages were later excluded from the financial compensation provided to the other 52 hostages by the American government.
This message is for all the Iranians coming from black folks. We didn't vote for this. We didn't vote for this mess in 2016. We didn't vote for this mess in 2020. We sure in the hell didn't vote for it in 2024. Only thing I ask, if you all do anything over here in the States, anything, please give the opportunity of black folks to get out of there before you start doing whatever you want to do. That's all I asked. Oh, and by the way, many Palestinian Americans who could vote over here, they also advise people not to vote for VP Harris. They advise them to vote for that person in the White House. So I'm just throwing that out there. I know we've had our differences in regards to when we come into your store and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we did not vote for this. So just make sure that if you see us, give us opportunity to clear out. That's all I'm asking.
When that man threatened Iran last week, he said to the protesters, don't worry, help is on the way. And he said to the Iranian leaders, y'all need to back up. And then the Iranian leaders or a spokesperson or someone in government said, we're not going to miss next time. And the U.S. at the White House level sort of quieted down. And you know what? Listen, I just remember, I'm old enough to remember during the Iranian hostage crisis, as we called it here in this country, when the U.S. embassy fell to the revolution there and American hostages were taken. And what most Americans remember is that the hostages were held for 300 something days, maybe 313 days or something. Americans started having a yellow ribbon to symbolize the hostages and all this kind of stuff. And the hostages were released. First there was an attempt to get them out and that failed. And eventually they were released and it was negotiated and worked out under Jimmy Carter. But Reagan had won the election and had worked out to hold those hostages there until he got in. So in pop culture, many people think Reagan got the hostages released, but that's not what this video is about. You know what this video is about? When they had those hostages, the Iranians said, we're going to let the black people go. The Iranians let the black people go because they said, listen, we know y'all working here for this government, but we know you are not in control of that government over there in the United States. Y'all can go. And that's sort of some forgotten history about the what we call the Iranian hostage crisis. And so now that there's another little battle going on between this government and the Iranians and the revolution there and the battles we're having here, all I'm saying is, if y'all decide to do something, just remember, just like y'all let us go last.
Iran, we the citizens of the United States want to come out and say, we ain't got nothing to do with none of this. Come on, sip a little tea with Auntie. Let's talk about it. A lot of people, when I say a lot of people are taking this for a joke, what is going on, y'all, I don't take it for a joke at one bit. We the people of the United States, Iran, if this video reaches y'all, ain't got nothing to do with none of that. Please don't go messing with our power grids. Y'all can wipe out that credit card debt because we the people of the United States would love to know what it's like to not have no credit card debt. And all of us need 800 credit scores. Y'all go ahead and do that part. We ain't mad at y'all not one bit. Y'all will affect the people who make the most money anyway. We won't be affected. We appreciate the debt being gone and 800 credit score so we can buy up some stuff like they able to buy up some stuff. And we going to take it there, y'all. But Iran, we ain't did nothing. You know, we ain't got no parts. Neither are our military. They just going by command. They being commanded to do certain things. They don't really want to do it. So leave us be. You know, don't mess with the citizens of the United States because we ain't got nothing to do with that. When I say nothing, I mean nothing. We don't want no parts of it. We ain't for what that man is cooking up. We don't We don't support that man. We ain't even vote for that man. We ain't put him in there. Only some of them, the ones that put him in there. You ain't got to give them no 800 credit score or wipe off their credit card debt. Don't go look it up and see who voted for him or who didn't. Help the ones, you know.
This message is for Iran. Yeah, so the black community don't got nothing to do with this. We don't have nothing to do with this. Please do not harm us. If y'all could just let us know exactly what y'all going to plan out so we can get our families and go. We do not support anything that is going on in America right now, as well as the country, as well as the fucking universe. Like, we really don't. Like, anything that is causing chaos and innocent lives being taken, we are not a part of that shit, okay? So I need for y'all, I know it's an eye for an eye, but I need y'all to take the eyes that cause this drama and cause this pain and cause all this turmoil and are standing behind whatever the fuck they feel is right when it comes to y'all. Yeah, I need y'all to take those eyes. Don't take these eyes. Get those eyes. Get those, the ones that are causing this. Because we, the black community, ain't got shit to do with this. We over here fighting for our lives too. We over here fighting for our lives too. Watch TikTok. Go on TikTok and put black people fighting for their lives in America. Okay? Yeah, all right. Bye-bye.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. Message to Iran. Yes, my brothers. This is Black America. Yes, we have nothing to do what Donald Trump is doing. I just want to say to you, my brothers, remember that joke we was talking about with dude put the comb up and, you know what I'm saying, he had the mustache and we all start laughing and stuff? You know what I'm saying? You remember that? You know, y'all remember that? We cool, bro. Remember, we friends, we brothers, bro. The white folks, they live in Idaho. Y'all, hey, just check the comments. Where are the racist white folks? You know what I'm saying? We ain't talking about the non-racist white folks. You know what I'm saying? The cool white folks, we call them beige, peach, and tan. They like they cool. They saving dolphins and shit. But listen, you know, it's Ramadan. It's Ramadan. You can't even do nothing right now till the sun go down. It's Ramadan. So my brothers and my sisters, just stay away from black areas. You can't, come on. Don't you want to be down? You know what I'm saying? We got sports, we got all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? But, anyways, we ain't do shit. We just here. We're just now figuring out we indigenous black Americans. We've been told we from Africa all our damn life. So, my brothers, please make sure you shoot at the people who look like the inside of my hand and not the back of my hand. And if you see some people that look like the back of my hand, chilling with maybe like one person that look like the inside of my hand, but the person from the inside of my hand act like people and look like YNs, you know, but the back side of my hand, then you know that them white folks, they cool. But the rest of them folks, you can go all down south. They gonna point you in the right direction. Idaho, I don't think how many black people in Idaho. I'm just saying. So, yeah, peace. Mr. Aldous is sad.
After clearly watching this interview and listening carefully to it, here's my deep critical analysis. You see, Iranian leaders, including the late Ayatollah is a title for a spiritual leader in Iran. So the Ayatollah, the late, by the name Ali Khamenei, you see, he has occasionally been referenced, or rather he had occasionally referenced racial injustice in the United States when criticizing American policies. Iranian state media has at times highlighted events such as protests against police brutality, you see, to argue that that the United States lacks moral authority to lecture other nations about human rights. These gestures are not necessarily evidence of genuine solidarity. Rather, they function as rhetorical strategies within geopolitical competition. By invoking the struggles of black Americans, Iran leadership attempts to destabilize the moral narrative presented by Western governments. Also, we've had some photographs of Iranian officials with African leaders sometimes circulating online as supposed proof of deeper alliance between Iran and people of African descent. Yet, these images usually represent routine diplomatic encounters. African leaders meet with many people, or rather many world leaders, as part of their international relations, economic negotiation, and participation in global forums. Now, interpreting these images as evidence of ideological partnership illustrates how political narratives can be constructed through selective interpretation. You know, the photograph becomes a symbol onto which broader meanings are projected, even when the historical reality is far more ordinary. Furthermore, it is essential to recognize that black Americans are not a monolithic political group. Their views on international politics vary widely as well. But in this specific incident, black people have fought in solidarity, you see? And that was a very, very nice thing to see. So the support for Iran among certain segments of the black American population, particularly within specific political or ideological group, is not typically based on direct allegiance to the deceased Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, but rather on shared anti-imperialist, anti-colonial, and anti-Western sentiment. While some political figures and activists have expressed solidarity with Iran's foreign policy stances, there is no evidence of a broad mainstream alignment between black Americans and the Iranian theocratic regime. We have key reasons for support and solidarity. The anti-imperialist solidarity. Some African American political activists and leftists groups have traditionally identified with the Third World revolutionary movements, viewing Iran as a nation challenging US and Western hegemony. We have a shared critique of US policies. Iran has historically utilized rhetorics criticizing US domestic race relations, such as referencing the Black Lives Matter movement and police treatment of African Americans, to what it calls US hypocrisy. This creates a narrative of shared struggle against a common powerful opponent, you see, attracting some supporters. There's also historical precedents. During the 1979 Iran hostage crisis, Iran released all 13 black American hostages as a symbol of gesture, which was interpreted by some as a sign of solidarity with the marginalized, oppressed peoples, right? We also have the anti-war sentiment. Many Americans, including the black community, are skeptical of foreign intervention in the Middle East and may align with any force opposing the US military action. You see? So what's the relationship between the Ayatollah Khamenei and African leaders? African leadership connection. The Iranian government has long worked to foster diplomatic and trade ties with various African nations, with Ayatollah Khamenei hosting leaders from countries like Algeria, South Africa, and Nigeria to bolster economic and political cooperation against Western influence. We also have the ideological exploitation. Analysts argue that the Iranian regime has consciously attempted to exploit the struggles of black Americans and Africans to advance its own geopolitical interest and Islamist agenda, rather than representing a genuine alliance of concern. Another one is the hypocrisy changes. Critics point out that While Khamenei often critiqued US policing of black individuals, his regime has faced international condemnation for its own human rights violation, including the repression of minorities and deserters, right? So that was the Khamenei, that was the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and what he stood for. He may have had his own weaknesses, but he also had his own unique strengths. It's okay, it's relevant that we look at his strength now that he has passed on, right? Even during the times he was alive, he stood his ground, not letting United States oppress his country, right? He stood his ground. Personally, myself, I salute him for standing his ground. Men today are cowards. Thanks for watching. This is Evan Commentary. See you in the next one and stay positive.